you made this?
Feeling good, got some weed up in my wood, chasing dreams just like I should, letting go because I could. Used to have my...
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we got on Suns Geek. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. Thank you so much for reaching out and scheduling this little interview with me, and excited to talk some Phoenix Suns basketball, man.
For sure. So like I preface through every video that we start off, I just like going over with the people that I got on, just giving a little bit of background about how you started your channel, how long you've been doing it, what you've been doing before, and just giving a little background to the audience.
Yeah, so long story short, like I've been doing this probably for over 10 years now. I didn't really start taking it seriously until about like 2016, I would say. But like my channel kind of just started just with like random cringe-worthy vlogs and stuff about my life. And then one day I just started just talking about the Phoenix Suns. I remember it was an overtime, I think a loss against the New York Knicks. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about that.
Right.
And then bam, it just started from there. I do game recaps, live shows, breaking Phoenix Suns news, and just really talk about whatever I want on my channel. And been doing it for almost, I believe, over 10 years now.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. Just giving a little background. I know we've done this for probably every episode now, so people might be getting a little bored of our story for the channel. But we basically just giving you the short version. Started on, playing video games together, just talking, hanging out, watching Philadelphia basketball. We're like, hey, we talk about this all the time, so why don't we just post this online and see, who else relates with our takes and stuff like that. So no, that's awesome though. But yeah, like I said, we'll keep this pretty brief. We'll just jump into a few questions. I like to go chronologically usually throughout the season, but I think for this episode, the Suns have just had, and no offense, just a really weird season this year, and it's just like very uncertain. So I really just have a couple of questions to go over because I just want to get a fan's perspective of what's really going on. So
go for it, man.
Starting, second year or year and a half with the big three of KD, Booker, and Beal, starting fresh for the year, didn't really start off too great. I think it was 14 and 11 or something like that for the first 25 games. So you could see, and obviously keeping in tabs with the Suns and seeing that it was a revolving door of KD and Booker and even Beal sometimes getting injured and stuff like that. But what really is going on with this team? Or just like a point blank asking the biggest question, what is going on with this team? Is it defense? Is it people don't mesh well?
God. Both and more. Can I just answer all of the above?
Yeah.
The defense was absolutely horrific. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if you told me, Suns Geek, I have the numbers in front of me, you guys were the worst defensive team in the league, I would not be surprised at all.
Right.
I mean, you and I could both step onto the NBA court right now and blow past the Phoenix Suns. I'm not even joking. That's how terrible they were on defense, man. Especially the three-point defense as well. And that goes back to last season when we had Frank Vogel as our as our coach. Right. Even though we were a better defensive team last year, our three-point defense was absolutely horrific, man. But yeah, and then it's also just guys just didn't mesh well. I mean, it makes no logical sense, man. You would think on paper that just Devin Booker and Kevin Durant alone would at least get you into the playoffs, and we miserably failed. And then you throw Bradley Beal into the mix. You think that would, ignite something, some kind of a spark. That alone should get you 90 points. And then, maybe a little bit from the bench and win you basketball games, but it did not. We were losing by double, sometimes triple digits, night in and night out. There was clearly big chemistry issues with Mike Budenholzer and Devin Booker, and who else knows, what other players, Budenholzer wasn't meshing with. And just, I would say, a lost locker room. Even though some of the players would probably deny that, I think the locker room was lost not really from the jump necessarily, but from early on in the season, because we did start off 9-2, which was crazy. We were one of the best teams in the league, and then after that 9-2 start, man, everything just went downhill. So sorry to ramble, sorry to rant, but I'm just going to answer with all the above, man. It was a terrible, disappointing, bad season.
Yeah, I honestly think that's a very good answer for how you can explain it. Just because throughout the whole season, I'm trying to check in because I'm like, this is the Phoenix Suns. Like, you know, with KD, with Booker, they were doing well, and then you add Beal to that as well. I don't know how it ended because I guess Beal came in a little bit late, so you could blame it a little bit on that. But then with a new fresh season and them coming in, it's just like, what is going on here? So yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. Even I'm not even anywhere close to a fan of the Suns, but just like disappointing that you're seeing these NBA stars that can't mesh well on a team for some reason. So yeah, it was a little bit interesting, but as I want to continue going on, the only real points that I had, because I like going through, like I said, chronologically with the NBA transactions and all that type of stuff within your team, I guess the only real thing that happened was getting rid of Nurkic and trading as well as Josh Okogie and getting back Nick Richards. How, you know, like I said, or like you said, the defense is not looking great, but do you really think that Nick Richards was the answer to their problem?
Oh, no, and I said that from the jump. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't trying to be a negative Nelly, because if you have checked out my channel, or anybody after this is going to be checking out my channel, I am one of the most positive, optimistic Suns fans. But when we traded for Nick Richards, one of the first things I said was, Suns fans, Nick Richards is not going to solve all of our problems. And I made that clear. And I wasn't trying to be like a negative Nelly or anything. I was trying to like live in the moment and react in the moment. But like, I was like, guys, like, this is fine. This is going to help our rebounding a little. But I'm like, at best, he's like a backup center, or a barely starting quality center. He's a good player. He's a tough dude. Like, we need that rebounding. We need that toughness, but he can't solve all of our problems. And he is on a really good, cheap contract. So am I looking forward to him coming back next year? Absolutely. But does he solve all of our problems? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you could definitely see that. A lot of people were blaming Nurkic, which I understand as well, which everybody looks like they have a say in that defense and how they're holding teams. So I don't know if it was 100% Nurkic in that situation. But just looking at it just, and you know, no disrespect to the team at all or anything, but it just looked like a mess over in Phoenix this year. I really don't know what was going on with them. But do you personally think anything can really be done, like looking up for next year? Is it time to get rid of somebody? Is it time to get some new trades? Do we need to start over? Like, what do you really think is you know, the option of what you can do to make this team winnable?
That's a great question, man. So again, I'm a little more on the optimistic and positive side. I feel like I am alone on that. If not, there's only a couple of us on that island, you know. A lot of Suns fans right now, and even like Suns local media and etc., a lot of them are like, blow it up, like it's time to like move on from KD and Beal. Don't get me wrong, there are going to be massive changes from the time of this recording to the start of the season. Like, if you and I record together again in the future, we're going to be having a completely different conversation. I'm kind of on the, and I mean, I'm only hanging on by like a thread here, but I do think maybe we should keep KD for one more year. Technically, he is under contract for one more year. I cannot see Bradley Beal playing another game in a Phoenix Suns uniform. I'd be shocked if that happens. Devin Booker is not going anywhere. I probably should have started with that. Devin Booker is not going anywhere. I have preached that on my channel. I've said that on my channel so many times. But if they do trade KD, I hope that we get, a decent package back, maybe a few draft picks. But we are going to see a completely different roster next year. And even though I was just saying pretty good things about Nick Richards, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see Nick Richards next year either, because, Matt Ishbia and company, they did this end of the season press conference and they said, we are going to fix this. We are going to get guys in that are defensive minded, tough, scrappy, etc., etc. Sort of like players you guys look for in Philadelphia. Like, we need that, because again, like, I was not joking, our defense was absolutely horrific. There was no toughness. There was barely any chemistry on the court. Maybe a few stretches here and there was, but it was just absolutely a terrible season. So expect many changes from today to the start of this upcoming season. I would hope that something is at least changed. And I think just as a fan of basketball or a fan of the NBA,
having that conversation, obviously, with friends and even on the podcast talking about it, I think we can kind of relate a little bit in terms of Bradley Beal and Paul George, in terms of the contracts that they have on the team, and probably how difficult it seems in reality of how can I get rid of this player and get something that's going to, benefit the team right now. Do you have any thought in your mind? Because even in my mind, for like Paul George, I want to get rid of him. I already don't want to see him here anymore. But just trying to think in my mind of like, who's going to take a Paul George right now? Who's going to take a Bradley Beal right now? Even with his contract, I know he's still performing per se, but just contract based, like who's going to take that on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just real quick, if I can just piggyback off something you said, I do truly believe that Paul George and Bradley Beal still are performing. Like if you look at the numbers, they really aren't that bad. It's just it has not worked out for either of our teams.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because again, on paper, you guys should be in the playoffs. We should be in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it failed. It backfired. But getting back to the contract question here, I don't think it's as, I guess, dire or like as impossible as like maybe social media makes it out to be. Is it going to be challenging? Yes, but that's why those people in those front offices get paid millions of dollars to figure that stuff out.
Right.
I don't think like Paul George and Bradley Beal are going to go to like the Celtics or Cavs or like these teams that are like actually contending for titles, but could they go to maybe like middle of the pack teams?
Right.
Absolutely. They're not going to go to any rebuilding situations. Maybe to a team on the rise. That's kind of where like the Kevin Durant talk comes in. Like, oh, could Kevin Durant go to Houston? Could he go here? But like, I think it'd be a middle of the pack team. They would figure it out financially. But I do not expect Bradley Beal to play a game again in the Phoenix Suns uniform. And you know probably better than I do, but I wouldn't be shocked if Paul George got traded this offseason.
Yeah, I think, relating a little bit back to that, I think it's really just like the expectation that we were thinking of getting of Paul George that just made us like, yo, you were just averaging, whatever he was averaging in the 20s, I think, in, LA. And now you come to Philly. Yes, you had, knee injury and then a knee injury again. So we give you a little bit. Like, I'm not 100% like Paul George needs to be exiled from the NBA. I know he can still play, but at the same time, we just got rid of Tobias Harris, and you're averaging less than him or even up to par with him. And now we're even seeing him in the playoffs right now performing in that first game against the Knicks. It's like, man, we could have kept him on the team if we knew you were going to perform like this. So, yeah.
And we just gave you, what, a $200 million contract or whatever it was?
Yeah, 211, I think. We got 3 more years, man. So,
jeez.
Yeah. But, that's like I said from the beginning, I wanted to go chronological because that's how I've been doing everybody else's video. But I just felt like
I like it.
This team is so different. And it's like we're talking to Brooklyn Nets and Charlotte Hornets and Utah Jazz, like people that were just nowhere near where they needed to be, just like completely reset, not even fully reset. Some are injured, some are resetting. So it was a little bit more cookie cutter in the way that we could have this conversation, but I just felt like I needed to ask those questions because the Suns, like you said, are supposed to be in the playoffs right now. So just wanted to go about that point. But like I said, that's majority of the stuff that I had. I definitely appreciate your time. If you have, of course, your channel and anything that you want to shout out and just go over, give a little bit of a background of what you do before we head out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, I mean, if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, man, I'm going to make a video about it. Even if it's like the smallest Suns news, I pride myself on making that kind of content, keeping the fans informed on what's going on. Even if it's like a rumor and stuff, I try to make videos about it. So just subscribe for the latest Suns news. I do live shows, game recaps, YouTube shorts, especially this off season. I'm really going to do my best to expand my live shows. And about a month ago, I actually put my live shows on podcast format. So I'm on Apple Pod, Spotify, really a lot of places. So if you're not really like a YouTube person, check me out on Apple Pods and all that good stuff. And expect a lot more content this off season. Hopefully we can collaborate again. And also one more thing, like I said from the very beginning, massive changes are coming to the Phoenix Suns. So get ready.
100%. Well, I appreciate your time again. Make sure you guys subscribe and check out everybody's links. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode of JK Philly. Make sure you stay tuned by subscribing to the channel.